Welcome everyone to Textiles and Tea with the Handweavers Guild of America. I'm Kathy Group. I get to be your host today. So I want to welcome everyone, and we want to thank our sponsor, Los Arias Weavers and Spinners Guild. Oh, Spinners and Weavers Guild. They're out of Albuquerque, and we do appreciate you all sponsoring this episode today. Um, I want to remind you all that we have questions at the end of the program, the last 15 minutes. We'll get to as many questions as we can. But if you would put your questions in the Q&A and not in the chat. I can't always see them if they're in the chat. So we would appreciate it if you would do that. We are so excited to have Eugene Vigil here today. Since Eugene was born and raised in the Chimayo Valley, he has always had an interest in the traditions of his area. His goal was to preserve and promote all aspects of Hispanic weavings, from the most traditional to the most contemporary. As his ancestors came to Chimayo Valley in the 1700s, they faced many hardships and only survived because they worked as a family unit. Without this family working as a unit, the other one's jobs would not be completed. The same holds true today. Without his wife, Rose, Eugene's textiles would not be complete. Rose is the foundation of the traditional textiles he weaves by washing, carding, spinning, and dyeing the wool. The feel of a hand-spun yarn is of a rustic land. The color from the plants that surround Eugene and Rose in northern New Mexico comes from a local vegetation picked by their hands. They create the dye by extracting the natural pigment from the plants that they gather during field trips. This design is of Eugene's culture, with simple stripes, twills, serrated diamonds, block designs, hourglass, and seamed textiles. All of these elements that are created at Rio Grande Chimayo textile. And as a weaver, Eugene tries to incorporate these elements into contemporary flair. As a seventh generation weaver, Eugene is proud to preserve and pass on the Spanish weaving tradition to future generations. Hi. Hey, Eugene.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, let me ask you something. Is Rose off to the side?
Yeah.
All right. There she is. Rose, scoot on in here, honey. Scoot on in. We want you in here today. There she is, our duo. Well, let me ask you something first. And this is our silly question, what is your favorite tea?
Peppermint.
Oh, peppermint.
Yeah, we got
both of you
with local honey and some lemon.
Look at those mugs. Those are lovely.
Yeah, these ones came from the trading post down in Espanola.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you're ever in Espanola, stop by the Chimayo trading post.
I will have to do that. That is on my bucket list now. So how did you all start your weaving program? I know it's in your family for a long time, but was there a point where you said, I want to weave now?
Well, I started, well, my grandparents, my mom, my aunt, they wove, but I seen my grandmother weave when I was a young child. And then I learned from my tia Cordelia, and I was like 12 years old, because I could reach the loom because it's a stand-up counterbalance loom. And my grandma, not my grandma, but both my grandma and my aunt, they were sort of short, so I grew quite fast, so I could reach it
Spanish blood.
By 12. And I learned weavings, how to weave from her. And then I went to a private school in Espanola. It was McCurdy, and they had a few looms, so they had a little bit of a program on the weaving. So I took that. It was with
at the school they had weaving?
Yeah.
Wow.
At the high school.
That's nice.
Edwin Van Essen. And so then Rose and I got married, and she was interested in the weaving.
Interesting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Then I went to go work for Rachel Brown up in Taos and worked with her the better part of her last 20 years of her life up at her studio and sales floor in Taos, New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And then after a little while, one of my cousins, she came over. She said, "Well, there's nobody in her family, her children, that are really interested in weaving, but I want you to learn how to do the bigger Chimayo blankets." So her husband is the one that does a lot of the bigger Chimayo blankets. Yeah, he's passed on, but he taught me how to do them.
Demas Vigil from Cundio.
And there'll be a photo later that'll show the designs that he taught me how to do.
Well, that's a long journey you guys have been through together, isn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
then
yeah.
we built our studio in 1994, and we've been in operation here as an open studio 5 days out of the week.
Oh, you have an open studio too.
We
Yeah.
have an open studio. People can come in, view us working, ask questions, watch us do some techniques. So there's a few freebies in there. We give at least 10, 15 minutes free freebies with everybody that comes in. We guide them somehow. Some of them are interested in knitting. Some are interested in felting, sheep growing. And I did raising sheep for about 12 years with my cousins. And so I had the wonderful opportunity of working really hard, raising sheep
Oh.
to get my fibers.
Now, do you have a store there in the building also?
Yeah, it's an open studio. We call it a studio and supply.
Oh, okay. So if I come there, I could actually walk away with a handmade by you two lovely rug, right?
Yes.
Yeah, or you could order one.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, we're working on a hand spun right now for a lady in Los Alamos. She ordered one, and it's taken us about 2 years, and we're barely getting ready to weave it.
Because it's sort of a bigger piece, and to get the same color of fleeces to make it uniform, it's taking us a while just to get the different fleeces the same color, different places.
Well, you refer to yourself as a Chimayo weaver, but what does that mean? Is it a reference to place? Is it a reference to style, materials used, all the above, none of the above?
It's all the above.
Okay.
It's you have to have a basis in Chimayo to call it a Chimayo weaving.
Okay.
A lot of people do the style, but they can call it the style, but it's not what you really would call a Chimayo weaving because it's not
done here
or somebody who has ties
connections to the Spanish connections. Yeah.
And then for the yarns, it's a 4-ply woolen yarn that we use for the Chimayo. We use churro and hand spun or mill spun for the Rio Grande, because that's sort of a distinction between the both of them.
Oh, okay. Okay. So if I move there and start weaving, I shouldn't really call myself a Chimayo weaver, should I? Just because I happen to live there, right?
You could be a Rio Grande weaver. That's what I tell people, is because you live along the Rio Grande River basin.
Okay.
You are a Rio Grande weaver. But to be a Chimayo weaver, a true Chimayo weaver, they have to have connections to the families from here. So we have several people like Chris Montoya, who I hope is watching, from Albuquerque, and he's studying with us. And I tell him he wanted to be a Chimayo weaver. And I said, Chris, you're going to be a Rio Grande weaver because you live along the Rio Grande. That opens it up for you to do so much more. And he is a proficient knitter already, but he's pushing the limits on doing weaving and doing Rio Grande weaving. So I call him a Rio Grande weaver.
Okay. And that's Chris. Chris who?
Chris Montoya.
Chris, you
He
better say
lives,
hi if you're watching. You better be watching.
yeah, I think he is. But he's attending the university. I think he's done with his finals
Oh,
this
wow.
week.
Wow. Well, I understand that, and you've mentioned this earlier. I think it's also in what we mentioned in your bio, is that it's a combination, right, of Spanish and Native American influences, right?
Yes.
Yes, very much
So
so.
if I look at a piece, or not me, I know I couldn't, but if you were looking at a piece, could you say, oh, this here is the Mexican influence, and oh, this here is the Native American, or has it over time just blended together?
It's blended together, but
There's
you can sort of still
mhm,
see is
mhm.
what designs where it came from, you know. But we
And
have
also the finishing techniques also tell us.
Oh,
The
okay.
finishing techniques is the number one thing that says, oh, this is Native American or it's Spanish, what type of loom was being used. And the materials, you can usually tell by the materials what type of fibers were used. That'll usually give you a location to a textile. We have a lot of people come in with textiles, which we enjoy that to see them and view them and then do like an identification of where it might have been or which shop in the area might have woven these pieces, which family. So it's just a joy to see the beautiful textiles. Everyone's unique.
Well, Eugene, talk a little bit about your approach to weaving because it's not just, oh, I'm going to teach people how to weave. It's more about continuing the tradition and the culture and the community, right, Eugene?
yes, we taught 5 youth apprentice. They were still in high school, and um, so a couple of them are doing a little bit of weaving, but like myself, I started weaving, and then I got a full-time job
With
with
UPS.
UPS. I worked for UPS
Wow.
for 30 years,
And
and
he
then
did weaving at the same time.
I did enough
Every
weaving for the
show.
show. Yeah, for the show.
Every show he had 2 to 3 pieces done to take for sale.
So we hope that the kids will, I think they will, um, continue after they get settled in with their jobs and start, doing it on the side for now.
Uh-huh.
Once they get older, they can do it more. And then we
So,
also have taught different
Adult.
adults. Um, we taught one gentleman. He came to the house, to the studio, and he wanted to learn how to weave. And Rose told him, "Well, I have a little bit of a problem with one of the looms in the back." My mentor, Demas Vigil, said, Rose, he told Rose, Rose, you're not going to be able to weave on that loom because
It's too wide.
50 inches wide and you're sort of short. So Rose got um, this gentleman to go and put a
motor.
motor on it, electric motor with some different ratchets and stuff on it. So,
And I finished my first big Chimayo wide 60-inch piece. And then when
wow.
Eugene's master, Demas Vigil, saw it, he said, how did you do that? And then he changed his loom to have a motor because it was easier. He was older by that time and he had ailing hips and legs. And
Oh.
so it was able to let him weave up until his death. Most people here in Chimayo die and they're 90 to 100. And there's a lot of them that weave up until the night they go to bed and they go to heaven.
So um, he taught his children how to weave.
Mm-hmm.
So we did, adults. We have a few other adults, but we did, taught him, and so he's passing it on to his kids. So it's slowly, we're not losing the
tradition.
traditions. Yeah.
It's if they have the time with modern new jobs, higher pay, and nowadays they got to pay for insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance is the number one thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
Well, I
with
wanted to
weaving,
clear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
with weaving, you can make a living. I have made a living doing weaving, so you have to be dedicated. You dedicate everything to the craft.
Well, let me ask you something, Eugene. I wanted to clarify. You said the kids. Are you talking about your personal kids or kids in the community?
Kids in the community.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We never had children because I've had cancer.
Oh, okay.
And I attribute my cancer to my dad's involvement with the Trinity site. I had 14 tumors inside of me. I had all of them removed. And with that, it made me where I wasn't able to have children. So, but all of the children I've taught and all of my adults I consider them family.
I bet you do. When you spend
I
that much
do.
time with these kids, I bet they
Oh,
do feel
yeah.
like your kids. Well,
They
that's
come
good
back
that
and
there's
visit.
the community wants to continue this. That's wonderful. So let's
Yeah.
look at some of your work. I'm sure people are like, we want to see something.
Sure.
This first piece we're going to look at is a jacket, and we're going to see the back of it. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, so this design is so balanced. Is that an essential part of the overall design in your community? Is that you have that balance?
Yes, it is. We have the it has to be like a mirror image. If it's going to be like a true Chimayo or even a Rio Grande, a mirror image is what one of the criteria is of it.
And the bicolorations of color, which to me represents a balance in the world.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I'm curious, when you're making clothes, what's the most important thing about it when you're designing it or you're preparing it? What is, if you had to prioritize what's really important in designing and making a coat, what would it be for you?
Just that it's like we put before balanced, um, and then when we size it, because we got to normally most of our jackets and vests we have to
Custom.
we have to do a special order, a custom order. So we measure the person, and then we figure out how much material, weaving material we need.
And it's a lot.
And then we have to figure out, okay, we gotta have to center that, and then we got to leave so much on the sides, and that way we can get the seam allowance and everything else that we need.
And sometimes we have to go back to the loom and weave some extra yardage. Just because, I mean, the sleeves, you wouldn't think a sleeve would take so much yardage, but it does.
Yep.
And so as we're measuring out, we think we have the right amount, and then we don't have enough. We have to go back to the loom and recreate some more yardage.
Because the sleeves on a jacket, it's I have to weave at least 24 to about 29 inches just of either plain, or I have to put the design on it on the sleeves. Like this one, it doesn't show, but we have a design on the sleeves also.
The leaves, yeah.
The leaves.
Yeah. You can kind of see it on the edge.
Yeah.
Before we go on, we've had some complaints. Eugene, can you turn your camera a little bit so we can see Rose a little more?
Oh,
there
like
we
right
go.
there? Okay.
Okay, so back to this. Let's talk about the Chimayo design. Now, it's the use of two simple stripes and in a central design. What's the meaning behind it? How did it come about to be the design for you all?
Well, what happened is that my grandfather was
Grandpa Toribio.
Grandpa Toribio, and my aunts and uncles and my mom would weave blankets, but they were just plain blankets for them to use during the winter time or whatever else they needed. And then the chilly line train came into Espanola. And so when it came into Espanola, my grandfather decided to put some stripes and some design in there because he was going to go sell them to the tourists or the travelers that would come to Espanola from the Chile Line railroad and the train. And they would come from Denver, the Antonito or Denver area. They would come down to Espanola. And sometimes if he wouldn't sell them, he would go to the bond mercantile and he would trade it or leave him there, or mostly he would trade him. Yeah, that way during the wintertime, he could go and say, okay, I don't have flour, so I need more flour, or I need sugar, salt, because
all of the commodities.
because the Chile Line train was like from the early
18,
yeah,
late
the
1800s.
1800s till the beginning of World War II.
Wow.
And
And you're calling it the Chile Line?
Yeah.
And the Chile Line rail yard. Yeah. They
I'll
used
have
to
to
come
look
through
that up. That sounds
Espanola.
interesting.
They
Yeah.
want to revive it again. That
Oh,
would
really?
be nice.
But what I was reading one day is that they called it the Chile Line because they would come from Taos, and then once they got into the like Velarde, they would see in the fall they would see the apples and they would see all the chili hanging either on the strings or
Oh,
extras. So that's why they eventually called it the Chile
Chile
Line
Line.
Railroad.
Well, and so it sounds like when the railroad came in, the tourists got involved and that started changing designs, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, isn't it amazing? One little thing can change so much. You know,
Yes.
not that I guess a train's a little thing, but it's one thing. Wow.
And then the commercialized weaving came into Chimayo, like the Ortegas, the Trujillos, and they started doing more textiles and hiring a lot of people in the community to do weaving. So it was economic stance for the people here from Chimayo.
Yeah, I bet.
Currently, we're dealing with the fact that the company that supplied us yarns for 167 years, or at least 30 years of our weaving career, has closed.
Oh,
So we're
We're
in the process of figuring out what we're going to do. We're known as a commission gallery. So we'll do those things that people want us or hire us to do. Well, we've never been a big
production.
We do mainly for show, just like you see this one slide with all of our beautiful wares. We make enough for a year and then we go do a show.
okay.
And so that'll usually provide us income throughout the year, and we're able to make most of our bills. It was a supplementary income, especially since Eugene and I both worked other jobs than weaving, but now we're retired, so it's kind of a supplementary for our retirement, especially with healthcare going up,
Yeah.
bills going up, gas. So
Well, let me ask you about the wool. You brought this up and you talked about raising sheep. Now, the sheep and the wool are an important part of the overall weaving, right?
yes,
That it's always churro, right?
usually churro,
Yes.
yeah. But
Now, do you still have sheep?
my cousins have small flocks of sheep. They're raising mainly as a slow food source. And so they shear when they're going to slaughter. And I usually get the fibers, they shear them down. And then those are the ones that I do from start to finish. So I'll do a blanket, I'll do a rug. If you're fortunate to find a rug on the show floor, because those sell so fast. It's like people are seeing us create this blanket for this one lady, and they're just mesmerized that somebody has spent that much time, to create. And to me, I create because it brings beauty into the world. Knowing what my father's world was, with World War II and all of that, I try and only surround myself with beauty.
Well, the wool that you get from the sheep in the neighborhood, or when you had your own sheep, did you process it or did you send it out to a mill or both?
Yeah, we send it out to the mill because
we
we're
did
getting
some.
thousands of pounds. So we would send it off to a mill up in Colorado
Okay.
that would process for us. There was one really good mill in Magdalena, New Mexico, and then they closed.
A lot of the
And
mills are closing,
so
aren't they?
mills open and close at a rapid rate around
Yeah.
here. I wish they would keep one open that was good enough for me to continue, but I just decided I can't find and I don't want to take my wool over these treacherous mountain roads to get to the mill. So
Well, what about the dyeing? Now, who does the dyeing? Do you do the dyeing?
We
we
both,
both,
Eugene,
yeah.
you
both
both
do.
do it? Now, is it natural dye? It sounds like it because it sounds like you walk
Natural dye
around in
and
your area and
synthetic. We
pick
do
up
both.
We
plants.
do both.
Uh-huh.
We do the natural dyes. A lot of it we do it in the spring or in the fall, because in the spring we can get what we call kota or Navajo tea, and there's another name. It's a little daisy. It's a very tiny daisy with a long stem, and that's the one that's
The Navajo tea
Navajo tea.
gives us a brilliant orange color.
I was
If
going to ask what color it
Everybody
was.
loves that. Put orange and blue, the indigo, which is an
Uh-huh.
import dye, on there. We sell a lot. Oh, and black walnut.
we do black walnuts in the fall or even in the summer, because we have lots of
Black walnut
walnut
hulls.
hulls. So
I think we got an image of Mandy. I think we have an image of. I think Eugene, you're picking plants out in the field. Um, there we go. So is
Mhm.
that the daisy that you're talking about?
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Oh, good.
yeah, and so we'd like to do it pick them in the spring more, because they get more moisture. But this year we haven't had very much moisture at all. So
Oh,
unless we get moisture closer to the spring, we probably won't pick it, because it'll give us a yellow. And when it has a lot of moisture, it gives you an orange.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
all on timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
then
this is all of these plants in this picture are the same plant?
No, there's sage and
Okay.
there's chamiso and the Navajo tea. There's probably some that I can see some hierba de la negrita on there. Most of them, all of these are medicinal plants also.
Okay. So when you're in an area and you see plants that'll make good dye, do you just gather it up and keep it until you need it, or is it something that you'd have to use right away?
No, we pick it fresh and we use it right away. We don't
Okay.
store it. And then we're also conscientious of leaving seed and not taking the root systems. That way it comes back for other people, for future generations. And also the wildlife also uses these to eat. So we get to see bunnies and deer, sheep. Sheep love to eat the chamiso plants. So we don't like to cut anything too far back. And every once in a while, we'll hear a rattlesnake slither under one of the plants, and we'll just back away and give it its space, and we move to another location.
Yep.
Because we do have rattlesnakes in New Mexico.
Well, let's take a look at a next image because this is one of your pieces that you weave. This has got an eagle in the center. So how do you choose the design, Eugene? What's involved in deciding, do you design it ahead of time or do you start and just change it as you go?
But I always design it beforehand.
Okay.
This one was a commission from the
Chimayo trading.
trading post, and he does. So he used to do a lot of jewelry, and he would sell jewelry, but he's weaving now also. But he
This is
wanted
the Fred Harvey jewelry piece that was a brooch that he had acquired on a trade, and he wanted to see if we could produce it in
Oh,
weaving. And so, since his last name's Trujillo, notice on the bird, it has a big T, and that's to represent what's his first name?
Patrick.
Patrick Trujillo.
And see, my grandparents on my mom's side were Trujillos also. And so, but he showed us the pin, and he said, I just want you to make the design like that, and you can do whatever else you want. But I just want it to be in the square pattern of the Fred Harvey. So then I made I always have to make the design and then see what I add to it.
And it's usually a rough sketch design. Things don't start coming into focus until he starts weaving. So it's always a surpriser. Like when I used to tell my students when I taught at Ghost Ranch, anticipate change. That's one of the biggest things in doing fiber arts. Anticipate change and just go with the flow.
so Eugene, how big is this piece?
That is
Roughly.
58 by 84.
Wow. Big.
And but what I normally do is I'll find the center and then I work my way one way. And so I start weaving it and then I say, okay, I gotta have 5 inches, 4 inches here. The stripe's gonna be this much, and keeping everything.
So he has notes.
I have lots of notes and how I have to do the spacing. I have to do the spacing.
Mm-hmm.
But once I get into it, I'll change some things and I say, oh, I don't like that. I'll do this better. But I do have to keep it in the spacing because that's what makes it a mirror image. So much of this one's not really a mirror image, but the arrows and the stripes are a mirror image, top and bottom.
We have this next image we have is of the loom, and on it is the design. Here you go. So this is what you look at as you're going now. Some people use it as a cartoon and they'll put it underneath. Do you do that, or do you have it sitting there next to you?
I usually have it sitting on the side.
Okay.
That piece is an
ikat.
It's an ikat.
So it's actually a planned ikat, and it's one of a kind that we did with chamiso. So after we took our ikat class, we were still not proficient on dyeing indigo. So we designed this piece in class to get our grade, and then we dyed with chamiso. And so it's one of the few pieces done in New Mexico that's ikat, but not indigo, because most ikats are indigo.
Well, can I ask who you took your class from?
Kamiko Nambe.
Yeah.
Both Eugene and I were in the class.
She's from Japan.
Oh, that's amazing. Good for you. Good for you.
She taught a class at Northern New Mexico College. And so we took the class. And so she would do all kinds of ikats, and she would do kimonos, indigo, all indigo.
Silk. She did beautiful, intricate silk kimonos.
So I think we learned from one of the best.
Most definitely.
this next piece we're going to look at, now this is something that I thought was a great partnership. Rose, you designed the loom that you wanted, right? And then Eugene, you built it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, tell us about building this loom.
Well, the history of the loom is that my grandfather had a loom similar to this one because he could the beams that have the warp will come off, and because he didn't have a lot of looms, but he had enough to do what he needed to do in the kids, so he would warp them, and then he could take off the warp beam with the heddles, the heddles and the reed, and then he would store it
and do another size.
So he could do it 16 inch, 18 inch. Then he could go down up to a 36 inch warp and do bigger rugs, and it would only take maybe an hour to change it out. And then the beams on the breast beams, well, they come off. They're not screwed in there, bolted in there.
That's to get into thread. That was one of my designs. Rachel Brown, the lady I worked with, had the Rio Grande loom, and hers were all stationary. And when we had to get into thread, I had to climb in and out. Now, that was great in my 20s and my 30s. But in reality, like I told Eugene, I want to stay weaving until I'm 90 or 100 and then go to sleep and go to heaven. So to do that, I need to be able to get into my loom so I can thread.
Well, Eugene, was it difficult to come up with the way to solve these problems on the loom of getting in, getting out, moving things around?
No,
Was
it
it
wasn't.
difficult?
Both of us worked on I call it a prototype, and we
okay.
finally got it to where we want it. And so all the looms that I make, and Rose helps also. She does a lot of the sanding, and she does some of the sanding,
and I do the final adjustments for the individuals. We have one gentleman up in Michigan that's going to be putting his loom together in January. He's moving into a new home and studio. I told him he bought a home and studio for his new loom.
That's right. And that's the way it should be.
And so he'll be getting into his new loom and weaving. And we hope that he enjoys many years because he's elderly. And that was one reason that I designed these where you can get into to be able to adjust things. And then once you're ready to weave, you put your breast beam and your back beam on. And I have over 10 different warp beams with harnesses and reeds. Of course, it's a little bit expensive, but since I live in an area where there's lots of weavers, I was able to find reeds at good prices and be able to do that. But of course, the new reeds that they're making now with the polymer reed company are just, I mean, they're top quality.
Oh, that's good.
And that's the company we use for the reeds.
So Eugene, are you making looms for other people now or just giving them the plans for it?
No, we
make
the looms.
Wow.
Well, what we do is we measure the person. We made one a couple of years ago the lady was 4'11", so we made it just right for her to weave.
Yeah, that's her loom on the right side.
And then we have made two looms for two gentlemen that were 6'11", one 6'11", one 7 feet.
Wow.
So they're for people really short, really tall.
Anywhere in between. The one gentleman that he lives in Placitas near Albuquerque, when he came in, he says, "You can make me a loom my size?" I told him, "Yeah," because he's taking different classes. And he says, "Well, when I take the classes, it hits my stomach and I have to be bent down." and it hurts my back, but I love weaving. So,
Now he's weaving.
and then he can't really do a sit down because his knees would hit the top or the bottom
The jack
of
looms.
the jack looms. And then I've woven on the jack looms, and I'm 6 feet, so it is a little difficult. But then the other part is bigger people, taller people they have wider feet, so they're not going to be able
Yeah.
to get in
Yeah.
there. Because Rose told me one time, or the guild, when we were doing sheep to shawl for the state fair in Albuquerque, she said, or somebody said,
Take your ballerina slippers.
That's right. Well, somebody just said, "Oh my gosh, looms to fit the weaver." Wow. And that's so true. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've taught class when I'm like, okay, you're kind of tall, you're going to have to, let's put you on that loom, or you're kind of short, you could use this loom. And oh, we'll have to
That's what
put
I used
something
to
in the
do.
loom to make it raise up. That's great. It's for the size of the person.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
You're
I
so
think
smart.
that's what keeps people weaving.
Yeah.
That's why
That's,
I'm still weaving is
yeah.
Jean built me a loom that now I can work into and be able to do production,
Yeah.
do different types of weavings to get ready for our show. So I
Well,
can do 10 of one size, 10 pillows, 3 floor rugs, one big blanket, and we're ready to go off to an art show somewhere in the Southwest.
Well, I love it that you were both on today, and I think it's interesting because you finish each other's sentences and you know what each other does. So let me ask you, is there a division of labor either by just naturally, or do you say, "Oh, you do this better than me, so you do that, and I do this better than you, so I'm going to do that."
Yeah,
To a point.
constantly.
Yeah. Like on the looms,
Yeah.
I cut um, the loom parts. I dado them and sand them, and then I bring them and Rose critiques them and says, "Oh, that doesn't look that great, so we're
Take
gonna
it back.
take it back." Do it.
Same with the weavings. We do the same thing too. As we're working on them. We just, it's positive critique.
Yeah, and then when we build a loom, that I didn't say, I forgot to say, is that we put the loom all together and
We test it
we
out.
test it out, make sure that
Oh,
everything, the beater's good, right where it
Mhm.
needs to be. Uh, Everything else, the lambs, everything is.
Because when I worked for Rachel, that was one of the things that we had were calls coming into her studio on looms that had arrived and they didn't work out right. At that point in time, the loom is already at the person's house.
yeah. What are you
How
going to
do
do?
we deal with it?
Right, right.
They would just make it, they would follow their pattern.
Yeah.
And if the pattern was off just a little bit, the screw wouldn't go in or it wouldn't fit.
Yeah, so we learned those ins and outs from our masters, and then we've tried to make things better, and we try and be involved in the fiber community,
Uh-huh.
and that's not only here locally but worldwide too. And we continue to learn ourselves.
So one thing I forgot to say also about the loom is that when you thread the loom, you can thread it. It's a 4 harness. Usually it's a 4 harness, 4 treadle. It can be 6
Oh, it's 4
treadle.
harness. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the way you
can do many things.
Yeah, the way you warp it, just with a tie down on the lambs, you can go from 4 ends, 8 inch an inch to 4 ends an inch just by shifting the lambs and the treadles.
Huh.
Yeah. It'll take you 10 minutes. For that, you do have to reach underneath the loom.
Oh,
You
they
thread it
sound
different
great.
way.
All right, it's on my list. I'm coming out. I want to see this loom. I want to see it in action.
Okay.
All right.
It's right behind us. Right
Okay.
behind Eugene.
Look at that bad boy.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, that's great. All right, so what's next for you guys?
Well, we're gonna
get ready for some art shows. We got some art shows coming up with Los Arañas Weaving Guild in the spring.
So everything kind of starts in the spring again?
Yeah, we kind of low now for the Christmas, and we're looking forward to making tamales here at the end of the week. That way we can feed all of our guests that show up a tamale with pork meat and homegrown red chili from our garden. So
I'm assuming, Eugene, you got some weaving to do, right? Both of you have got a lot of weaving
Oh, yeah.
to get ready.
Yeah, we got weaving. We always, if we don't have any orders, but we do have orders, we just do different pieces.
We're creating all the time.
Yeah, and then I always have to get ready for the state fair for the Hispanic arts. They have a separate one for the Hispanic arts, and I usually put two weavings. And not to brag or anything, but
Oh, go ahead.
He always wins.
the last 10 years I've gotten first place. So
Really? Oh man. Tough competition.
And I always get second and third.
Oh.
They called that
I wouldn't even enter.
for the
What's
award
the
ceremony,
point?
and he said, "Well, they didn't call me." And I said, "Eugene, you know that you're going to take first." And sure, I was right. I took second. I can't beat him.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't live around there. I wouldn't even bother. Yeah.
No.
You know what? There are a bunch of questions. Let's take some
Okay.
questions. How about it?
okay.
Paula was asking, is there a website for your work? You guys have a Facebook page, right? And that's
We
it.
have a Facebook page.
Yeah,
We
and
tried
it's
a
on-
website. Too
And it's
expensive.
in the chat too. And we'll look at it again at the end of the show. But if you're looking for it, Paula, look at the chat. We've put it in there.
Thank you for putting that in.
Absolutely. People are going to want to find you. Okay, this is Suzanne Halverson. Hey, Suzanne. She said, I brought 6 students from Indiana to study with Rose and Eugene in the early 2000s. It changed
They
my
did,
life.
yes.
I recommend them as excellent teachers. We also had Rose come to our guild to teach. Oh, man.
That was a highlight.
Are they open to taking new students in the studio or teaching at workshops? Great questions. Do you guys still travel, or are you only taking people at your studio?
We kind of stopped during COVID time,
Yeah.
but I'm looking into a schedule now that everything is kind of open up. We're all vaccinated. And I did stop teaching at Ghost Ranch. One of the reasons is that I am diabetic, and so I'm immune compromised. So I need to make sure that the people that are coming follow rules and regulations for travel. And they don't usually, so I run a risk on getting severely sick. And the 2 times I taught at Ghost Ranch, I landed up in the hospital.
Oh dear.
And it was COVID. So
Yeah, it's
I
good
need
that you
to be
can
real careful.
restrict it. Yeah. Eugene, do you teach?
Not usually.
He's taken over my classes, and he's a pretty good teacher.
I
listen to you.
When Rose got sick at Ghost Ranch, I took over the class.
He had to. He's my contingent.
So, but Rose is usually the teaches, and I'm the support staff.
Your support staff.
Yeah.
But he's a real good teacher. Better teacher than me is what my students said.
Oh, I doubt that. Thank you, Suzanne. It was nice to hear that story. Thank you. Please talk about the meaning of the traditional colors and how they represent balance. This is from Christine Williamson. Hey, Christine. The colors and how they represent balance.
The colors are usually from the different natural dyes, or color can play a big part of telling the story.
Do they have meanings? Do the colors have meanings?
The meanings that you put to them.
Okay.
A red color might mean a different meaning to you as it does to somebody else. So when I teach, I tell them as they're creating, they might have to go over and go pick their colors, and that'll help them drive and move on to create their textile. Because in my classes, we usually design first, and we try and lay up color and try and tell a story, because that is what tapestry is. It's the oldest form of storytelling.
So we have a lot of different colors, and it's not really so much the Chimayo weaving or Rio Grande weaving, but we do a lot of, Rose does a lot of tapestry, like landscapes and different stuff like that.
And I
teaches
can
it in
use
class.
hundreds of colors.
And so we do the indigo, we exhaust the indigo to get light colors so we can get
dark to light,
so we can get the skies.
Yeah.
You got to have New Mexico sky.
Yeah.
In a tapestry.
Somebody was asking about, this is from Janice Bradford. She goes, I'd like to know about the finishing technique, since they said that is how they can tell the source of the woven piece. Yeah. Talk more about, Eugene, can you talk about the finishing technique and how you know where the rug came from?
Okay, so the Hispanic, Chimayo, and Rio Grande weavings, we have we warp it, the loom, and then we tie it up, we do the piece, and we cut it at the warp, and then we tie it in knots, and it has a fringe. So that's how you can tell those ones.
Or Spanish.
Or Spanish. Now the Navajos, it's a continuous warp. And since they do it on a upright vertical loom, it's continuous. So it shouldn't have any warp strings that are broken or
they pull it off. They weave it with a needle until they get to the top. And so then when they take it off, the weaving just kind of springs into place. And then it has that continuous warp. So they don't have no fringe. You might see a twine on the top and the bottom. And that is usually how they do it on a vertical loom.
And then there's like the fake Navajos. A fake Navajo it looks like a Navajo weaving, except what they do, it's woven on a
upright counterbalance loom.
And then they sew the ends in at the end, so it has the clean finish. So at the end of 2 inches of the
and that
end,
takes a lot more work to do it that way.
They should just tie it up with the knots and the fringe, and it's a lot easier, because once you start sewing, that takes a long time. Because I had one customer that wanted it. Well, it was a long time ago, but it was
for Lynn Anderson, the Western country singer.
She wanted a weaving. It was a Navajo weaving, and I tell her, well, I usually don't do Navajo's weavings.
But she had borrowed a piece for a photo shoot, and it landed up that she went back to go borrow the piece from the gallery, and it sold. So she had to have the same weaving. So she hired Eugene to do a simpler weaving to hang on the banister.
And she wanted it.
So she didn't care that it was Navajo or not. She just wanted the appearance.
She wanted it.
It was for a photo shoot.
But she wanted it Navajo, though, because she wanted me to sew the ends in.
But I think she bought it from you to help you out, because Lynn Anderson, of course, most movie stars have lots of money. So most of them do. I don't know about nowadays. Who knows?
And I was her UPS driver for many years.
Well, Suzanne Chappelle's got a question. What size loom did you use for the Thunderbird commission?
60 inch.
60 inch wide?
Yeah, and that's the one that
his aunt gave him that loom. She was a weaver up in Cundio, and she said on her deathbed that we were the only ones that she knew that would continue the tradition. She gave Eugene the loom. So that one is a loom that was given from a family member. And we do our big pieces on that.
And that loom also is the one that has the motor and the shaft.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that motor idea. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have to stop, but I want to read this last one. It said, this is from, I think it's Lou Fiskin Ross. And she said, Rose taught my first tapestry class. Great teacher. Thank you. Thank you, Rose and Eugene. So you got a fan
Thank
club here
you.
today. They're excited that you were here, and so was I. Thank you both so much for being here today. I really appreciate.
Well,
Thank you
This is
for
one of these
inviting us,
conversations
and
we could
thank you
talk
for having
forever.
tea, everybody.
Thank you again for being here. I encourage you all to go to their Facebook page. They don't have a website, but they do have a lovely Facebook page, and you can learn a lot about what they're weaving and just their life around them. They share a great deal. It's really nice. So go check them out. And I don't know about you, I think I need to make a trip out west just to see that loom. I want to see that loom and their work, of course. It's beautiful. So thank you both, Eugene and Rose. We appreciate you being on here today. It was so much fun. I appreciate it. And
You're welcome.
we want to thank your sponsor, Los Ariana Spinners and Weavers Guild. Thank you guys so much. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Go check them out. They're a busy guild. They do a lot. So go check out their website. You'll learn a lot about what they're up to. If you would like to be a sponsor of an episode of Textiles and Tea as an individual or your guild or your business, or you have an event coming up and you want to let people know about it, please go online to weavespindye.org and you can purchase a date that works for you. If you have any questions, you can contact the office and we'll be glad to help you with that. We want to thank everybody for being a member because you know what? What a great gift. If you know a weaver and you want to buy them a membership, or if you want to continue their membership, we would like to help you with that. It's a great membership. You get the magazine, you get discounts, and then you just get involved in the whole weaving community of all the different programs that we offer, and it's a great gift that lasts throughout the year. If you want more information about giving this as a membership, go online. You can learn more, or you can call again. If you can call the office if you have questions. But if you're trying to find a perfect gift for the weaver, spinner, dyer, felter in your life, this would be a great membership gift. Thank you guys so much for that. We do want to thank everybody who is a member who has donated because those things are what keeps our programs going. It helps us plan new programs. It helps us with Convergence, Spinning and Weaving Week. And it's also, we're sitting back going, what do we need to do next? How do we service our memberships? And that money helps us do that, come up with that new program for all of our members. So thank you guys so much. If you would like to join or donate or both, you can do so on weavespindye.org. Easy to do. Next week, we're going to have Tina Linville's going to be here, and she has some interesting weavings, interesting fiber. So I encourage you guys to come check out next week. It'll be Tina Linville. I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Happy tea.